Hello, my name is Professor Sean Watts, PhD, MBA in International Management and Information Systems. I am a Vice President of DongA University in Vietnam. At the same time, I am working as a professor at Keimyung University in Korea, although I'm originally from Canada. Thank you for taking your time to talk to me. I am very eager to develop people, corporations, and of course, universities. That's why I'm talking with you. I'm eager to discuss how I can teach and develop classes in global partnerships, international management with technology, digital marketing programs, project management programs, many things, including million-dollar value grants, publishing activities, student deployment. There's lots of things to talk about, even superhero professor awards. Overall, as I said, Vice President, or I'm Vice Rector, Head of International with DongA University, and I'm a professor at Keimyung University, and I have been working with the prestigious Indian Institute of Management and RMIT, the graduate school and the marketing program, helping the Australian university expand in Vietnam. And I have also developed many online courses for the University of the People and developed the business school for East Asia International College in Yonsei, Korea's type of Harvard. And I'll talk lots about that. Very briefly, to give you a short introduction to who I am, what I can do, why I'd like to talk to more people and talk to you about collaborations or working together. I work with a lot of different developments for curricula and research, publishing, grants, online education, enrollment, employment for students, collaborations, especially with employers. One company that I worked with that students seem to really like is the world's highest tech company. People think of Apple, people think of Samsung Electronics. I've worked with them, but they are trained by Applied Materials, which is a high-tech company that produces most of the world's semiconductor computer chips. And we developed an operation in Korea where we helped Samsung expand, and that collaboration ended up helping Applied Materials increase their revenue fivefold in 1 year to over $1 billion. I've also worked with Samsung, of course, the United Nations, other corporations and government connections. There's several different teaching awards that I've had, and I look forward to mostly getting awards with you. If we go through this, as I said before, many Fortune 500 companies I've worked with and I continue to work with, but Applied Materials is where I raised revenue over fivefold to $1.08 billion within 1 year. My teams are usually really impressive, even right now, 2021, 2022. My work includes activities with a range of universities and colleges and various governmental organizations, including the United Nations. And ultimately, I've worked with 128 different countries. Yonsei is the university I've worked with the most, from 1995 to up until 2015, and even to today. I continue collaborations with them a lot. Yonsei is ranked 79 globally. They are definitely research focused, and their research culture is embedded in me. I have 85 articles and books with Web of Science and the 5-year impact factors up to 14.306. There's lots of contacts. I can go through many different things to talk about. Even now, with the coronavirus and many parts of the world not being able to travel and communicate or conduct business as normal, I've been very active. And as you can see in these documents that I can send to you at any time, there's many stories about how I'm helping Vietnamese universities and Korean universities with international activities around the world. So if I just jump in quickly to my CV to introduce myself, again, I'm Professor Sean Watts. I'm the head of the program. I have a PhD in International Management and Information Technologies. It's focused on massive open online courses, getting universities not only online effectively, but to expand in other countries and other cultures. I focus on the cultural differences needed for corporations and organizations to be successful abroad. I have more than 15 years of teaching experience in program developments. I have many different courses that I have taught. When I was the chair and leading a program in Yonsei, we would have international professors coming in and rotating quite a bit. Because of that, whenever a student was in love with a course that somebody taught, but then that professor left, I would start taking on those courses to keep the students happy. And so I teach a variety of courses. Currently, I'm the vice president of DongA University and a corporate director, and I am a professor with the Keimyung University in Korea. And there's many universities that I've worked with prior to that. I have a lot of experience with research, online education, especially employment programs for students. I've managed accreditation, globalization, funding, enrollment, curricula, research, teaching. As I say, a big part of what I do is focusing on getting students internships and jobs. That's all built into how I teach and how I run my classes and programs. I help develop and monitor assessment of educational programs and conferences for colleges and corporations from Canada to Korea, Kenya, including grants, programs, being a course developer, corporate developer. I've worked for, as I said, Samsung, Applied Materials, the UN, many different organizations. Many of them also scouted me, including Samsung. They scouted me, the Korean Ministry of Justice and Seoul City Hall. They and the Federation of Korean Industries, many organizations, they found out about me from my activities and my reputation in the local community or international community. They contacted me and asked me to work for them. So I've worked with many organizations, being scouted by Samsung, Korean government, the United Nations projects in Kenya, in India. Just in this last year, I've developed 8 different articles for publication and 3 different grants under review, including work with the Academy of Management. You can see the links here. There's award-winning programs in several different countries that are going on. I usually focus on recruitment, research. I have up to 630 different university international partnerships I've developed, many different scholarships for students and for international faculty and visiting professorships. As I said, with corporations, the biggest result my team was able to get was with Applied Materials, where we grew their revenue from $200 million to $1.08 billion within 12 months. And there's quite a lot of publications. So if I just jump through a lot of my resume that you can see online at any time, ultimately you're hopefully interested in my education experiences. My education is, again, I have a PhD from the world's 79th best university with the global ranking, Yonsei University. My PhD is in international management and information systems. My advisor was an awesome man, so much better than myself. Dr. Jae-Hoon Hwang, he developed the management information systems for the Samsung Group. And I also have executive education with York University in Canada. I started my MBAs with McMaster University in Canada and developed it with Yonsei University in Korea. I have global executive MBA, Masters of Business Administration programs with Boston University and the Federation of Korean Industries and Daewoo University. I started my graduate school in nuclear medicine at the Faculté de Médecine at the Centre Hospitalier de l'Université de Sherbrooke in Sherbrooke, Quebec, Canada. And ultimately, I started my bachelor's in general sciences with biology, chemistry, biochemistry, and computer sciences. Detailed work experience. Right now, I'm focused mostly on Keimyung University, which is a university in Korea. I came getting the program online with international business. I'm still there, I'm helping them, and I'm interacting with many other universities at the same time, having our students work online. Zoom classes is what I typically use. And during the Zoom sessions, anyone in the world can participate with us. And so they do. I bring in professors or executives from Denmark, Romania, India, Vietnam, Canada. Korea is very popular because we're here. And I do the same thing with the Indian Institute of Management. As I say, they scouted me and hired me because they saw my online videos from many years ago, they were impressed. They asked me to help them develop the same type of thing, teaching their MBA programs, which is world respected now, and DongA University, where I'm a professor and vice rector, but it is a newish university, introductory level university, and I'm getting the international activities to grow. But with coronavirus, the international activities are being paused, so I'm on leave there. However, I've developed many different international alliances and internships, job partners. I'll talk a lot about that later. I've developed many different agreements that provided thousands of class case studies, internships, full employment. I brought in a $10 million grant. We started with a bang. I'll explain that a little bit later. For example, one university that I was finishing a contract for RMIT. I was going to take my son to his school, and a local professor next to my son heard about me, asked me to come in. They immediately hired me to help them, and I was growing it so fast. The DongA University was the only one that was able to manage that growth. It went well. Many other universities I've worked with have come and contact me, not only with research conferences and research activities, but several of them have seen my classes in YouTube or online, massive open online type courses, and they've contacted me to ask them to deliver similar classes and similar programs, including Hyundai University in Korea. RMIT is an Australian university expanding in Vietnam, where I taught and helped develop digital marketing and graduate programs, where I brought their MBAs for the first time outside of their classroom into not only companies in Vietnam, which several of the students thought that was the first that they've experienced, but I also took them on world tours, not the whole world, but we'd go to other countries and we would meet with other universities that I was connected with, go in, they would be able to volunteer and give lectures. We'd also go to other companies I was connected with, and the companies would give special tours to the students. Students seem to really like that. I'm happy to continue doing the same thing wherever I'm in the world, probably bring the Canadian students into Korea, Vietnam, or India, or around the world on international management tours. That's one of the things I'm really excited about. University of the People. Back in 2015, before online education was a really big thing, I was helping them develop courses and MBA courses online. I continue to develop courses online. Yonsei is the biggest university. When I first went from medicine to getting into business that I thought was more of a challenge, I went on an international vacation, and during the vacation down from Canada into Latin America, I liked helping the companies down in Latin America expand, but I got tired of getting shot at. So I researched and I found that Korea was one of the safest, fastest growing companies. So I came to countries. So I came to Korea in 1995, and I've been basically based here ever since. And I started as an executive of Samsung, but I was able to do my job quite quickly with a lot of free time still left over. So I was a lecturer at Yonsei. And then in September 2008, they hired me full-time to develop a whole new program. That was the East Asia International College. The university now, it's developed to AACSB and EQUIS, which is the European certification. It's ranked #1 globally for education in Korea. And Yonsei is considered the premier university in Korea. So I have quite a bit of experience with that. Not just developing classes and programs and professorships, bringing professors from all over the world in, and having our professors going to other countries also, often with the students. So the students would go on class trips. But I also developed 630 different international university exchange partners. I didn't do all 630 myself. There was a team, a whole office of people that do it, but I did help because I was one of the only international faculty in Korea since 1995. I've also developed 5 different international academic research journals. You can check a lot of this stuff out online. I help lots of different universities. Other than universities, I've also been a consultant, and I have significant amount of corporate experience. I've been a consultant since 1992, or maybe even earlier. I think I started getting my first job when I was about 6 to 8 years old. But recently, 1997 to present, I have been hired by the Korean Ministry of Justice and Seoul City Hall, a board member and a judge for international business development activities. I am helping them expand international activities. I am also a organizing committee member of research activities, especially related to information technologies, applications, and management. This is a corporate group focused on research activities, mostly the research scholars helping companies, and those companies give sometimes millions of dollars of grants, especially SAP type programs, Oracle type management information systems programs, Korean equivalent programs, $1 million value grants we are able to give participants quite frequently. In addition to that, not just working with the billion-dollar businesses, but I'm also proud to be able to take some of this advanced education, and I brought it into other areas. Nairobi, Kenya was a great place when I was there. We were able to go with many other faculty, develop lectures and the conferences at universities in Nairobi. And while the other professors were interested in Kenya and interested in Nairobi and the culture and of course, a big aspect of poverty and poverty alleviation, lots of the other professors were afraid of going into the informal settlements. I went in and lived there for a while, and there's videos related to that. You can click on these links in my resume to see how I was living in some of those interesting areas, but helping develop programs and education at the same time. I was also a consultant for the government of Korea, and as I said, Seoul City Hall and the global business centers. When I first started in 1997, I was initially working in 1995 with Samsung and Daewoo, and then we went over. At that time, we were only able to have 1 or 2 year work contracts. Foreigners were very rare in Korea. So I went from Samsung to the Federation of Korean Industries, which Samsung also largely controlled. While I was working at the Federation of Korean Industries, I got a phone call, and it was during a meeting. I was about to hang up on them saying that I'm busy, but the other Korean staff were saying, whoa, you have to listen. It was the government, senior government officers asked me to come in and just start helping them. And so I didn't really have a choice. I was politely scouted to join the Korean government and help with the United Nations project. I met and worked with people from Bill Clinton, Henry Kissinger, Michael Gorbachev, many different executives, and projects in 128 different countries. Some of them were award-winning. More corporate experience. Applied Materials, as I said, the world's largest semiconductor computer chip manufacturer and training center. We help them expand in Korea and in China with training centers. We help them develop from over $200 million in revenue to $1.0 billion in revenue within 1 year. Ultimately, it was by learning my specialization, which is to learn the culture of the local language, the culture and the values of the local people, and satisfy those needs. And so we did that. Obviously, things went well. Worked with Samsung for a long time. That's how it was successful. I knew a lot by working with Samsung before I joined Applied Materials. When I joined Samsung in 1995, there were almost no other non-Koreans in the country, very few. And so I just walked into Samsung and walked past the front security people because I haven't really seen foreigners before, walked up to the CEO's desk, walked in and started telling them that I can help you with consulting using my MBA experience. He was shocked. And anyway, I kept doing them. I was helping many aspects of the Samsung Group and Samsung Electronics, from their executive education to their international trade activities. I still stay in touch with them, as I talked to you earlier, and I'll talk again later. Federation of Korean Industries, Daewoo Group. Not everything's perfect. For example, the Daewoo Group went bankrupt. They were basically liquidated during the Asian financial crisis. But I've learned from lots of experience in Canada as well. working with Applanix, which we helped develop from one of the world's best electric equipment and video sensing equipments. They were developing so fast that the international development areas, which I was specializing in, we got Leica to take over the company. And unfortunately, I was on break then, but every other executive was given $1 million packages. Aecon, also I worked with. They are Canada's largest public corporation, mostly focused on construction. I helped their group, Innovative Steam Technologies, again, get into international activities into Asia. I developed them throughout Asia, China, and mostly India. PipeSac, the same type of thing. I helped this company in Canada expand internationally. There's lots of activities that we can talk about. Overall, I should focus on my teaching and how I can help with teaching. I usually focus on practical, active learning, which involves getting students to solve real company problems and not just ask questions and debate in class, but I get companies involved either with a case study written project like the University of Western Ontario has, but I actually prefer to bring the company into the class and tell the company, this is what we're doing. What can we come up with to have a creative solution, or how can we expand? And I'll talk about that a little bit more, but I try to do that almost all the time. No matter what textbook I'm using or articles I'm using, when I'm teaching a class, the theory and the research, I try to get students to learn this research and apply it to reality, to the company they want to focus on. And when they're doing so much research, they get a lot of valuable information they can share with the company that alone can provide quite a few internships. But then after they show them the research they already have and how it can be tailored or modified to better adapt for that company, that provides more of an internship and has led several of my students to get full-time jobs. So that's my teaching focus. You can see lots of different videos of how I teach through my YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com/c/Sean Watts, or my link bit.ly Watts lecture. There's many different videos. Some of them have many thousands of views. Some of them may be terrible, but I've been doing it for many years. It does continue to get better. There's a lot of classes that I can teach and I have taught, many of them award-winning, like my Principles of Marketing or Organizations in a Digital Age. This is a great class where ideally, especially with online education, students are given something like a game, an activity before class starts, and then we start and we have a lecture, and then students have another follow-up activity, and then students are given like a training or a tutorial afterwards, and a small quiz like what's it called, not a MOOC, but Kahoot type quizzes afterwards. That type of thing for each week gets students a lot more involved, and they're really, really happy with the courses. So it's won a lot of prizes. And when I've gone to other universities and introduced this to them, they've usually liked it, especially as I'm trying to develop here at Keimyung University now. Overall, you can see this. There's lots of online videos of classes that I'm doing, developing them for MOOC type lecture development. I've been working with this not since 2008, which is when Canada's universities invented it, but I've been researching it since then. And I was at Yonsei University at that time, and Yonsei University is now a leader in this MOOC education in Korea. Many different key classes like Principles of Marketing, Management with Technology, Organizations in the Digital Age, East Asian International Management. Those are where I usually excel. And I've received many different teaching awards, like last term, even though it was during the coronavirus period, people were just starting to get online. I got the Superhero Professor. There's several other awards that we can talk about. Advisor to many organizations. I speak a few different languages, from English and part French. My first master's degree and my family is part French. I lived in the Arctic Circle area and Nunavut for a while, so Inuktitut is one language. Korean, I've been here for quite a long time. My family's Korean, so I speak Korean. I lived in Latin America prior to coming here, so I can get by in Spanish as well. Vietnamese, Chinese, I'm a beginner. But of course, even most importantly, the idea of computer languages. I've been trained in some of those. I'm not a specialist in them, but I know the importance of them and how to communicate with them. My current research topics. I'm very interested in cross-cultural differences needed for organizations to be successful, with corporate training to the whole idea of universities and online training or massive open online courses, how an organization like Coursera can have a course doing very well in the United States, but have very few students in Vietnam or Korea or China using them, because we need to develop cultural adaptations to be successful. So I specialize in that. The whole idea of the acceptance, beliefs, knowing the common values needed, especially related to use of technology to get in with the culture for success with international management. That's my specialized area. So my research statement, in summary, I have over 85 different publications listed in my CV that you can see, bit.ly/watts-bio, including my top quality Web of Science. I have 5-year citations per document with impact factor up to 14.360. An example in the recent year, I have 2 different grants I'm working on, several different student activities, and 8 different publications that are going in, including one to the Academy of Management. You can see here if you're interested. How I like to work, although I started with work with the highest level impact factors, which I still respect, but I'm more interested in helping junior people or younger students or younger faculty appreciate the values of them. So this is an example several years ago, and I continue to do this, where I help a student that's very interested and eager to develop a project and not only present that in class, but they present it at a conference. This student was able to have this paper presented at a conference in France and in Italy, and won awards for it, but this became published. The student did very well, and she was a new student at the university, had never done anything like this before, had never even written a big international English paper before. I gave her a lot of help, but I like helping students develop their papers. And this was talking about, again, international activities, how helping a Korean organization can work with Apple. So innovations in corporate education, culture, technology, and management in Asia and North America. That is my theme of research. Students were able to help. Other than that, in my specialty, I love helping and collaborating with other people. For example, the next project, talking again about cross-cultural differences, I worked with a project that had 61 different co-authors, and it was the top quality, high impact factor. It's actually higher impact factor now, but Scopus Q1 journal. Impact factors up to 14.360. You can see currently, just in the last year, in addition to helping the DongA University in Vietnam, I'm also helping a university in Korea, Keimyung University, get online with their business programs, which is quite a challenge for them. But I also have several different publications and grants and activities that are going to at the same time. There's a few publications that I have. You're welcome to see them all. I don't expect you to be able to read all of this. Quite seriously, most people, most interviews, they don't read too many of these, but I'll talk about any of them. For example, there's also been TV stories. I'm not that special, but there have been a lot of newspaper stories and TVs about what I'm doing. For example, when I came to Asia in 1995, specifically when I came to Korea in 1995, there were, I don't know, 15 non-Koreans in the country. Most of them might have been military related or born here, something like that, by very unique people. I was one of the rare business persons, so there's a lot of TV stories, newspaper stories about me some of them that are recent from 2019, even 2020, 2021. There's many different agreements that I've been able to help students and universities get. This one is with DongA University. This one story is talking about how we got 72 different agreements with corporations to provide 4,050 jobs for students, and that's just one event. And it was mostly business administration, but also tourism, nursing, education, many different areas. So many different jobs we've been able to get with many different companies. We've kind of developed a special way to work with companies that we have more jobs and internships positions than we have students in the university. So we are opening these to any other students in that area. Another one, for example, here, this is talking about how we've provided human resources students for, I'll just show you this picture. This news article is showing a picture of me and other people with our university and Japanese auto industries providing many jobs for our students. As I said, here's another picture of us making these agreements, teaching the students, going around. There's lots of videos, lots of stories, lots of newspapers. This is my YouTube channel. I'll talk about this at any time. You can check it anytime. There's many different videos related to cross-cultural communications or international management, managing culture. You can see 23 different videos here, 30 videos here, human resource management, strategic management, international marketing. Lots of videos I welcome you to see. If we jump through and finish the 48 pages of my CV, I'd like to talk to you about the details, so please contact me. Overall, I've done many things, from lectures and tours, pretty much around the world. I have been around the world many times, but not everywhere. I love going with other groups, especially researchers and professors, whether it's in Taiwan or China or Nepal, leading different conferences. Some of these pictures are where we developed social development programs, and we gave scholarships to government officers in emerging markets, third world countries around the world. They came and we taught them different programs. I've been judges of many different programs and taught students many different things. Lots of references. People, some students may complain. Most students are very happy, and most people I work with are very happy, as this shows. Dr. Russian from Russia has a reference letter, and you can see that here. And he will, I believe, gladly talk about what exactly I'm doing. We work together at the university now. Jens Graf is a professor on the other side of the world in Denmark, but he is working for the Ministry of Education in Denmark related to evaluations, educational evaluations. And he and I got in touch, and he likes my information, he likes my research, he likes my class activities. He has provided a reference letter, and both of these guys, all of these guys can speak in my classes. For example, Fred Hyundai Kang, he is a professor emeritus of Yonsei University, but he still comes and he volunteers, not every winter, but many winters at the university and the programs I'm helping to develop. He volunteers to do that, and he teaches lectures in my classes and at the universities, whether it's at DongA University, whatever university or organization I'm usually at. Lots of references available. My PhD degree, undergraduate degree, transcripts from all of the different programs, MBA degree, and there's lots of certifications and recommendation letters. So before I finish, I'd like to just point out an example how I teach not only the latest theories and the research, but I get students to work with organizations. This guy is an amazing executive. As you can see, this is his LinkedIn profile of executive, Mr. Boni Nam. He works with Samsung Electronics, and he is a high-level guy there, has been advising and consulting the CEO of Samsung Electronics for several years. not only related to Korean international activities, but North American and South American activities. And he has joined some of my classes, lectured in some of my classes, mentored some of my students, and helped some of my students develop research projects. One of the projects that the students did, executives of Samsung offered 500 free high-tech devices from Samsung. That's like $1 million value grant. So I like working with that. Other than that, you can contact me anytime through my LinkedIn profile, which is LinkedIn/Watts S. Please contact me anytime. Thank you very much. And I hope to hear from you very soon. Again, the biggest thing to focus on is my contacts right at the very beginning. So please stay in touch. Bye.